We're always urging, the policymakers and all the relevant actors in the ecosystem, start early enough. So start being engaged in consultations. Start, proposing the agendas that you want, to be seen in the future program. So, for us, it's like, we start, when the design of the program starts. So we, start, understanding how the program is shaping, what priorities are going to be, on the agenda. And then according to that, I guess Rafa will agree with me because we've been together in this game, you start also, having these matrix of what potential calls are going to happen. And for us, when we do it in a proper way, this means that you already start with 6 months ago, thinking strategically, where you want to place yourself. So it's not only we all, as Rafa was saying, we get into proposals because we get invited and because we have a certain expertise. So there are always, of course, some situations where we say yes because, yeah, we want to have the consortia, we want to help the consortia. But the proper ways that you start with this, actually much before, so that you are even possibly a part of the creation of the program, that you know what the strategic priorities are, and then that once that you start thinking strategically where you see yourself. So as Rafa was saying, these are the priorities that are now set for Horizon Europe. There will be changes, of course, for the FFM, and for that reason, we are also already, following very closely what the program is going to bring, and we're also trying to get ourselves involved, in the design of it at this stage as well. So when you understand, how the program is shaped, then you can also better respond to the impact. Because this means that, with whatever you're planning to deliver, you also need to think, as Rafael was saying, what are the policy recommendations, that you will also need to propose and shape with as a part of your proposal. But also, is it possible that with what you are doing, you are also potentially impacting the regulation? You're proposing some new standards, etc. So there is a lot actually to understand, and first who start in Brussels. So for that reason, for us being present over there, and have a good Brussels liaison, it's a must because, this is, how we started, and we can also work much more effectively with our partners because we can also, look at everything, from a much broader perspective and put it into the context. And why impact is so important. Also, Rafael spoke a lot about this, but the Horizon program, because also what happened with Horizon 2020, the Commission said, okay, so we have all these great proposals, but we don't see the impact. We don't see that there are changes, made, in the market. We don't see that many, innovations getting commercialized. So we really need to put much more effort on impact and exploitation, meaning, you need to have a good excellence, you need to have good implementation part as well, but you need to understand, how are you going to present, what kind of impact your project idea is going to have, on the society, and, also what are the economic, and technological implications as well. So this needs to be taken into account. So, we have to look at the impact, from, the applicant's own interest, as well, as this wider impacts, which also related to the sustainable development goals, and put them together into the context. So as Rafael was saying, we always like to go into consortia with our friends, and we always have ideas, that can merge from one to another, but it's not always good that you pick and that you go with the same partners, for the calls that you want to participate. You really need to think, what impact, it's also, that is to be achieved according to the context, and if you have, the right consortia that is going to be able to address it. Rafa also already, spoke about it, but, this is just to show how each of the pillars pillar, is really, having the impact that is supposed to be achieved. Something that the Commission said, well, we are expecting this from different pillars. So the pillar one, is supposed to have the scientific impact. The pillar two goes to societal impact, and the pillar three goes to the economic impact. So, the first, job for us is actually, to start, sketching, all these different priorities, strategic orientations, what are the impact areas that we have to have in mind, and as you can see, they're already here. And as well, what are the expected impacts, according to destinations, that you are tackling with your proposal. And then you have to match this with outcomes, of the topics, as well as the project results. And in all of this, you also have to have in mind, this aspect I was saying of regulations, then how to work packages, and different policies, will be part of it, and then, to put everything into the context. And even though us evaluators, we are not, the most favorite, people in the room, and they are often here, well, these people, wrote this proposal because, this was a setup. But I can really assure you that this is just not possible. So the way how we are picked, the way, how we have to go through the process, all the kinds of confidentiality agreements that we have to sign, the way how all the process, is designed is just not possible. And we never begin to work in isolation. There are several of us that are looking at one proposal. And it's really true that, now at this time, as Rafa was saying, you really have to score not below 13, to have a chance to get funded. It is due to the fact that we get 50 to 100 proposals to evaluate, and we have to pick 5 to 6. So when it comes to those that are, very, highly ranked, there are really nitty-gritty details that we have to look at in order to decide who at the end is getting funded. So it is really not a game. It's really that we favor everybody, but that we really look at, who is really able, to do the best job in presenting the proposal. As you were saying, that the grandmother understands it, but also that we have, the storytelling as well as to match all the criteria that are, set by the call, so that at the end, we see that everything fits, because we have our checkbox that we need to go through. So, as Rafa was saying, it all starts with clearly understanding the proposal. So, it's, as also it was said, very often, it comes that we don't have enough time to work on the proposal, so it's always more or less last minute. But if you have at least, 3 or, from 3 to 5 months, and you start, with all these exercises that just we, I just explained, and, Rafa was talking about as well, then, it starts fitting into places, and then you don't get into the situation that you have to submit, and then, you either miss it or there are some, issues. We look at it as, you are actually working on a, business proposal. So, you want to start a business that you want to see to get funded, but that also is sustainable, meaning that, with that you will be able, to do more, to hire more people, etc. And this is exactly the impact that the Commission wants to see. So that whatever you're placing, into the market, that will have a wider impact. So you need to think of all these elements, when you are thinking about applying. So it's very entrepreneurial process in a way as well. So, you start with reading the call text, you see what is that the Commission wants, and, what is said in the call text. You try to see, the consortia that you want to gather, and the idea that you want to put in the market,